Hi everybody. Welcome to your yoga practice. Namaste. Good to see you. Hope your holidays are going well. So today's class is a flow class with some focus on hips. Also affecting the second chakra. So we're just going to move a little bit, find some fluidity in the hips as we do this practice. And modifications will be offered throughout for those of you that are beginning. And if you didn't get a chance to see the tutorial on the Vinyasa that I posted on the Facebook page before this, please go back and just check it out. See if you might be requiring some help and have some questions. So I'm going to go ahead and sit on my block and just prop myself up for a little seated meditation. So go ahead and come up and find a comfortable seat. If you need a prop, place it behind you. If not, it's okay. If you have blocks, blocks would be helpful today for this class, so you might want to think about that. And if you need to pause the video, pause it, go grab what you need and come back. So go ahead and get set up. Remember to shut the door wherever you are. Maybe ask your pets to be quiet, or just there's a way to kind of train them to sort of, you know, chill out and be with you. It may take a few times of just gently brushing them away, but they will probably start to understand that this is your space, your mat is your space, and that you'd like to have some time to yourself. So this will be an hour-long class, and let's just go ahead and begin with tapping into our breath. So go ahead and close your eyes. After closing your eyes, just notice your posture, notice how you're sitting. Notice the shoulders, the neck. Maybe roll the shoulders back just a bit. So in this pose, I like to draw my shoulder blades towards my spine behind me. So kind of hug those in towards the spine. That helps me to sit up tall. And the reason for that is that you can breathe a little bit easier if you're sitting up tall. If you're rolling the shoulders forward and you're collapsing the front of the body, your breath is not going to be as free. So notice that. So create some more space in the front of the spine. Maybe lift your chin. And just notice the sensations in your body. How are you feeling today? And then maybe lifting up through the spine even more, feeling as if the spine is like a straw, like there's space in the straw where you can sort of draw air up through it, perhaps, to lift and lengthen a bit. And then as you exhale, the breath returns back down to the base of the spine. So just getting to know your breath, so just inhaling, lifting and lengthening, and then exhaling, just kind of settling a bit into the hips and the pelvis. And as you do this a few more times, start to let the outer hips descend just a bit. So there's some softening of the hips down. If you're feeling really tight, you could always change the cross of your legs. Sometimes just shifting the position of the legs a little bit will help. You can also bring your feet and ankles away from your body in meditation. And all you're doing is connecting to your breath and your body in these first few moments before we start moving. So we know our breath in stillness first. So that we also recognize it in movement. Perhaps shifting now to nose breath only. If you know the Ujjayi breath, let's cultivate that now as well. A soft sound in the back of your throat that sounds as if you're fogging up a mirror. So the sound becomes really focused in the back of the throat a bit. It's an audible breath. Lengthening that breath to a count of 4 or 5 if you can. Or just letting your gaze pull down to your heart. So just letting the internal gaze now move down into the heart. Let's bring our palms to prayer position in front of the heart. Maybe dip the chin in, and let's just listen to our body, our mind, whatever is coming up for us in this moment. Something meaningful. Something that you would like to hold as your intention for your practice today. Holding that in your heart. Letting it shine brightly. Palms rest on the thighs. Eyes blink open. And we shift our hips off of a prop if we have it, and blocks would be up at the top of your mat. And let's go ahead and lower ourselves to our backs. So just scoop up the back of the knees, lower yourself down, and come to your backs. And just let your palms rest beside you. Turn your palms to face up, and let's just windshield wiper the knees side to side a few times. Just nice and easy. Saying hello to the lower body as we release out of our meditation seat. Good. And then from here, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together as we let our knees drop wide. Our knees are bent into Baddha Konasana, and then sweep our hands either into a cactus shape beside us or overhead, whichever feels best to you. So you're just finding that comfortable position, feet are together, inner thighs are talking to you. This is the first of many hip openers that we're going to do today. So just let the hips relax. Take a couple of deep breaths. So again, knowing the breath in stillness. While in this pose, you're softening the outer hips down, feeling the inner thighs soften a bit. Just noticing the sensation in the inner groin. Today's class will be a focus mainly on the psoas muscle, so you'll be feeling some stretch there happen. Good deal of the front of the hips, the outer hips as well, inner thighs. So now just pick up the outer legs and bring them together, knees together again. Hands by your side. Just take a couple of breaths here. And then you're just going to gently start to drop one knee to the side out towards the floor, and then the other. So you're just going back and forth, allowing your left knee to drop to the floor, back up, and then your right knee back up. So just back and forth, noticing the head of the femur as it moves in the hip socket with this movement. And just bringing in some fluidity to the joint itself. Just a couple more times. Just back and forth, nice and easy movement. And then draw your knees into your chest, give yourself a big hug, rock side to side, feel the back body massaged. Keep a steady breath. And then draw your right knee to your chest, hug it in nice and tight. Really just hugging the knee in, left foot is still on the floor. If it feels good and comfortable, you could extend the left leg straight. And to feel a little more sensation in the left hip flexor, you could even flex the left ankle and maybe hover the foot above the floor a little bit. And then gently change sides. So left knee to chest, hug that in nice and tight. Right foot's on the floor, and then begin to extend it. Taking some breaths here. Enjoying the sensation of stretch. Be hovering that foot for a little more sensation. And then both knees to chest. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, hug the hands underneath the knees and rock yourself up. Come to sitting. Maybe hug your knees into your chest. Just for a moment. Good, and then cross at the shins, and let's step back to downward facing dog. So first taking the palms underneath the shoulders and then lifting the hips up and back. Moving into your first downward facing dog of the day. And let's pedal out the feet a bit. Noticing your hands here. If it feels better for your shoulders, maybe turn the palms out just ever so slightly so the index fingers are pointing towards the front edge of your mat. And then rock to plank position, holding the belly in nice and tight here. So engage the core and then shift your hips back for downward facing dog again. Let's do that again. Inhale forward to plank. And then lower to your knees into tabletop position. And from here, we're going to actually just rotate the hips in a big circular motion. So going in which direction feels best for you to start, just rotating the hips around in circles. So instead of cat and cow, we're actually just finding mobility in the hips through this action. Continue the breath. Good. And then let's pick up our left knee and draw some circles with our left knee. So again, feeling the head of the femur moving in the hip socket. Just kind of getting to know the structure of our pelvis here through this movement. Moving gently here though, doing what feels good, and changing sides. Nice big circles in one direction, and then you might change the direction of the circles if that feels good. Nice deep breath. Keeps our nervous system nice and calm, and then press into child's pose for a few breaths. Instead of wide knee, maybe keep the knees closer in towards each other as you do this child's pose. Lengthening the sides of the waist here. And then rising up, tuck the toes, hips up and back for downward facing dog.
Again, maybe pressing the chest towards the inner thighs as the inner groins move back. Now let's step our right foot forward. Let the left knee fall to the floor, looking forward. Inhale, sweep your hands up to the sky. Nice gentle stretch of the psoas. Just say hello. Big muscle there. And then reach your hands behind you, interlace your fingers. Start to straighten the elbows, hugging the shoulder blades again behind you to open the chest. Continue to breathe here. Palms to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out as you step your left foot forward. So coming into that low lunge on the other side. Let's inhale and sweep our hands up. Really sink into the hips a little bit in this pose. You're going to see me move a little bit more in poses today, and then bring the hands to the mat, step back to down dog. Or step forward, into a forward fold. Just hang out here for a breath or two. Pull the belly in. Inhale to rise up into chair pose. Utkatasana, sit the hips back, arms reaching forward. So you're sitting like you're sitting in a chair here. Squeeze the inner thighs together and then just rise up. Tadasana, mountain pose. Exhale, hands to your heart. Let's move. Inhale, sweep up. And exhale to bow. Maybe soften the knees as you do that. Inhale, look forward, either hands to shin or hands on the floor. Step your right foot back. Find your low lunge again. Inhale to sweep your hands up. And exhale, hands to the mat. Step to dog pose. Take a breath. Good. Step your right foot forward. Let your left knee move to the mat. Inhale, float your hands up. Anjaneyasana, low lunge, hands to the mat. Stepping back to plank, lowering through your vinyasa, knees, chest, chin, come to the mat. Modification here, inhale to rise for cobra pose. Nice and easy back bend. Pick the hips up, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Just notice how you feel here. Inhale to look forward. Exhale, step or float to the top of your mat and bow. Inhale, Utkatasana again. Sit the hips back. You're going to see this throughout the class today. Inhale to rise up. Reach up and sweep around into prayer pose. Let's keep flowing. Inhale, rise. Exhale to bow. Hold the belly in as you move forward. Inhale, flat back, extend. Exhale, left foot steps back. This time, or actually step into plank position. Lower. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step, lift your right leg up behind you. Bend the knee, step it through. This time rising to crescent lunge. So you're going to come up into your crescent lunge. Right knee is bent, hopefully over the right ankle if you can get it there. Really extend through the sides of the waist, reach the arms up, and then float your hands back to the mat. Step to dog pose. Inhale, left leg rises, flowing. Exhale, bend the knee and step through. You can skip the tail if you don't like that and just step the foot forward. Find your crescent lunge again, breathing, extending, hands float to the mat. Step to plank position, find your vinyasa, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, up dog and down dog. Good. Step or float to the top of your mat with the in-breath. Exhale to bow. Inhale to Utkatasana, chair pose again. Sit back and then spring up to Tadasana. Hands at the heart. Keep flowing. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bow. So we're getting warm through our sun salutations. Looking forward. Inhale, exhale, bow. Step your left foot back and right foot back. Down dog. Inhale, right leg rises. Right foot steps forward. Inhale, float your hands up for crescent lunge again. Good, and then interlace the hands this time. So see if you can get your shoulder blades together to open the chest. Left heel is right over left ball of foot here. Lower into your lunge a little deeper for more power, and then release and step to dog. Inhale, your left foot rises, taut tail, squeeze your butt. Bring the knee towards the chest and step it through. Inhale to float your hands up. Find crescent on the other side. Let it feel good. You're going to see me move around a little bit in the poses today because just kind of trying to find that really sweet spot. It feels good for my hips, and also trying to find more mobility. Good, and then float your hands back to the floor. Step to plank position. Find your vinyasa, or you're just waiting for us in down dog. You choose. You can skip the vinyasa here and just do your down dog. Right leg rises, breathe in. Knee bends and hugs in, step it through. Spin the back heel down, rise for warrior two position. Settle down. Shoulders over hips here. Front knee over ankle. Eyes over right middle finger. Really extend the arms away from the body, so find some power there, and then take right elbow over the top of left and come into a goddess squat towards the back side edge of your mat, and then take warrior two to the back. So left toes move towards the left edge of your mat, and then back to center, then back to warrior two. So you're taking eagle arms to open the chest again, and then reverse your warrior here. Breathe in. Beautiful. Float your hands to the mat. Step back to dog pose. Breathe in. Left leg rises. Breathe out. Hug it towards the chest, knee to chest. Step it forward. Rise for warrior two, the other side. So you just drop that back foot to float into your warrior two, and find strength in the other body upper body as you reach your way. And then take the front arm and wrap it on top for eagle arms here. Pause in the middle for goddess squat. And then you're just going to take a warrior two to the back edge of your mat. So you're just kind of turning the feet, turning right toes out. Good, and then back to center as right arm comes on top. For Garudasana, goddess squat, and then back to warrior two and reverse your warrior. So still flowing, not holding the poses an awful long time. We're looking for movement and float, and then moving into your vinyasa. So inhaling, floating through your vinyasa, or meeting us in down dog, whichever you prefer. Right leg rises again. Tail, knee to chest, step through. Inhale to float the hands up. Pause into your warrior two again. Then straighten the knee, and then bend the knee. Straighten and bend. Again, just thinking about opening the hips here. So just let this feel good. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Floating into triangle, right hand comes to ankle. Arms expand wide across the chest. So feel some expansion there. Lengthen the right side of your waist as well as the left side of your waist. Gaze can be either up towards the left hand or down at the floor, depending on what feels good for you. You decide. Just expanding in this pose, letting it feel good. And then left hand to your hip, and then to the mat. Let your left knee come to the floor. So a little different. Swing your left foot back behind your left knee, and you're going to actually press your right hand into the right inner thigh here. So you're in kind of a lunge, but you can reach your left hand forward and off the mat a little bit as you press your right hand into the thigh to open the inner groin. So I want you to feel this in the inner thigh, and I want you to also resist. So resist the thigh into the hand into the thigh. It's intense, I know. So now we're going to just straighten the front knee, Swim your left hand to the back edge of your mat and do gate pose towards the back edge of your mat. So feel the stretch in the side body. Come back around to the front. Step to dog, breathing. Left leg rises. Let's take the other side. Hug it in, step it through. Swim the hands up for warrior two position. And here we will straighten and bend a few times. So just straighten the knee and bend the knee. And straighten the knee and bend the knee. Just keep breathing. Just keep feeling and reaching the left hand forward. Float your left hand to your ankle, your shin, or the mat behind you, behind the left foot if you can. For this pose, here's where a block is handy too. If you've got your block, you can place your blocks there. Reaching the hands wide again. Think about expanding in all directions. Think about your neck. What feels best for your neck? If you could use a little stretch, gaze up at your right fingertips. Then bring both hands to the mat. As you bend your right knee, swing the right foot behind the knee for that inner thigh stretch. You're going to see this one more time in class today, so get to know this. My left hand is pressing into my inner thigh. My right hand is supporting me on the mat as I push away. And I'm just really getting into the inner thigh again, resisting. Hand into thigh, thigh against hand, so a little resistance here. And then swim your hand, right hand back to the back edge of your mat as you straighten your left leg. Reach your left arm over your ear for that gate pose, side gate pose here. Parigasana. Good, and then swim your hands back around to the front edge of your mat. Step into downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Exhale to plank. Inhale into your vinyasa. Exhale into downward facing dog. Eyes releasing. Really pressing your palms into the mat here. Look forward, step or float to the top edge of your mat. Good. Swimming up into Utkatasana, chair pose again. And then inhale, rising to the top for Tadasana. Let's take our feet really wide to the side of our mat. So toes are facing the side edge of the mat, and then we squat into goddess pose and bring your hands out to the side. And I really want you to move like I'm moving here. So this is about finding mobility in the pelvis. So I want you to just kind of swing your hips side to side, and you're going to feel some challenge in the quadriceps, which is of course good, building some muscular strength here, but let's just kind of dance it out. Let's see how mobile our hips are, and then we're going to take a little side bend to one side. Again, that same side bend we took in our gate pose, just side to side. Let's do that a couple times. It should feel good. You're actually supporting yourself now on your thigh while reaching and extending, but keeping the movement fluid. That's really the theme of today's class. So finding some space in the hips. Down dog. Either staying here, actually stepping to the top edge of your mat now again in your forward fold. Good, and then rising all the way up to Tadasana and diving again. Step the left foot back into a low runner's lunge. And then we'll drop the back heel, moving into warrior two legs, but left hand remains on the floor as you do that inner thigh stretch again. Right hand pressing into the right inner thigh. Again, resisting, going a little deeper while also building leg strength here. And then straightening the leg and folding into Prasarita Padottanasana. So just toes pointing towards the side edge of your mat as you bow here. Hands could be on blocks if it's hard for you to reach the floor here, but let's feel the spine just lengthen. This should be a releasing pose. So just let the back body lengthen. Palms are on the floor. If you need more, you crawl your hands back a little bit, and then let's swim back around to the front edge of our mat. And we're actually just going to fold into pyramid pose here. So toes are pointing straight ahead. Back heel can be off the mat if you like, or lifted. And I like to shorten my stance in this pose, and I'm just bowing over my right leg for a hamstring stretch here. One more breath, and then just step to the top of your mat. Let's inhale, half lift and lengthen, bow. Inhale to rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Good. Let's do a balance pose here. So cross your right shin over your left thigh. So like modified half lotus here, palms to prayer. Find some gazing point. Hands can stay at prayer or maybe reach forward and take a forward fold. Just depends on your flexibility today, how you're feeling. So I'm going a little deeper here because I want an outer thigh stretch from my right hip. I'm feeling a little challenged, more challenged in the balance, and then rise up. Let's take the other side. Left leg crosses over, hands into prayer. Reaching hands forward if you can, and then floating them towards the mat or elbows to shins. So I'm moving kind of quickly in this balance pose, but if you need to, bring your hands to the floor. Pause for a breath. Good, and then just come back to stand, release, walk to the top edge of your mat. Inhale to sweep your hands up. Exhale to bow. Inhale, half lift and lengthen the spine, flat back. Exhale to bow. Step back to plank position and take a vinyasa. So inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Great. Step our left foot forward. Actually rising back up again. Sorry guys. Come back to the top edge of your mat after your vinyasa. Step your right foot back for that inner thigh stretch on the other side. I actually missed that. Sorry guys. So we're going to take lizard lunge on the left side. So stepping your right foot back, I actually missed that inner thigh pressure stretch that I think I might catch up with here in just a bit. So just take lizard lunge. So you can either bring your elbows to the blocks, or if you're really flexible, you can bring your elbows to the mat. I've got mine on blocks. This is about as deep as I can handle today, so I'm just going to pause here. And I really want you to think about lengthening the front of the spine here. So instead of rounding in the upper back too much, think about lengthening the front of the spine, maybe looking forward. Good, and then let's start to step back to down dog again. Right leg rises, step it through, or actually left leg rises, inhale, step through. Good. Take that warrior two stance. Remember I missed this side and the sequence right before. And let's take that inner thigh pressure move again, left hand to inner thigh as you reach forward. So it's almost like a warrior two down dog. And you can take your left hand into the inner thigh to do that pressure if that feels good, and then fold into Prasarita again, maybe going a little deeper. I like to walk my hands back a bit and press my palms into the mat to go a little deeper in this stretch. Just doing what feels good to you here. Breathing. Turning back towards the front edge of your mat for your pyramid pose. So just inhaling, looking forward first, exhaling, bowing over the left leg, shortening your stance here if it feels more comfortable. Nice deep breaths. This is your resting pose. So let this feel good. From here, step to dog, into plank, lower through your vinyasa. Find your flow. Right leg rises here, step it forward, and let's take lizard lunge, modification with knee down. And I'm using blocks today, and if you don't have blocks, it's okay. You don't need to use blocks here. You could stay on your palms for this, but this is sort of a way to rest and go just as deep. And you could also turn your right toes out a bit. I like to do that. That feels really nice. But scoop your heart forward. So lengthening the front of the spine, not just collapsing here. Good. And then go ahead and step it back. So you're probably starting to feel pretty open in your hips now. Probably starting to feel really open in your hips. Step your feet together towards the top edge of your mat. Good. And then inhale to rise up, float the hands up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Good. Standing balance here. So let's reach down with both hands if we can and clasp hold of the left foot, the top of the foot. So this is a balance pose. It's going to be a little challenging. So you're reaching the heel towards the glute. Knee is reaching towards the floor. Keep the belly tucked in. And from here we'll move into warrior three, hands behind us. So airplane the arms behind you. Just let the left foot swim back into your warrior three. And then bend the right knee and land in your crescent lunge. Sweep your hands up. Keep breathing here. Let the left knee lower to the mat slowly. Okay. And then we're going to back up into either Ardha Hanuman, which is half splits, or full Hanuman. So we're going to actually walk our left foot back. So walk the left foot back, walk the right foot forward. Try to keep this split even with both legs, and then try and walk your hands back. If you've got blocks here, it's really helpful. And this particular pose requires a lot of psoas flexibility and hamstring flexibility, and we've been opening those two things throughout our class today, and hopefully we can go maybe a little deeper in this pose. So a lot of preparatory for this particular pose. Just do your best. You could also place a block under your right thigh, but we're not going to stay for very long. So go ahead and start to scoot yourself out. That was really your peak pose there for class today. And you could stay a little longer if you wanted to pause the video, but just step to dog and maybe shake your legs out. That was really good. Step to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, half lift and lengthen. Exhale to bow. Inhale to float your hands wide and up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Or down by your side as we take the balance on the other side. Bending the right knee, reaching down to clasp with both hands for this pose if we can. Really drawing the heel to the glute muscle. Balance is a little unsteady on my left leg today. And in my defense, I have really small feet, so sometimes it's hard for me to balance a little bit. It's not my strength. Some people have really awesome balance ability. So back to warrior three. Do your best. And then step back to crescent lunge. And you're going to reach the hands up, but remember for this crescent lunge, we're actually going to slowly start to lower our back leg to the mat. So back knee lowers to the mat as you find your low lunge again. Hands to the mat, or grab your blocks if you need them. and start to walk your front foot forward, your back foot back, or you're taking the half version of this pose and doing whatever feels good. I've not been working on flexibility for my hips enough lately, so as you can see, I'm really still far away from the floor, and that's okay. But this is also where you can see where you've got more mobility on one side than you do the other. This is one of those poses where you can really tell where you're really lacking some flexibility, where you might need to work on that just a bit. So good. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and just walk your feet back. So just slowly making your way out of the pose, removing your blocks, stepping to dog, to plank this time, your chaturanga, your knees, chest, chin, cobra, your version of your vinyasa, and then just lower to your knees. Cross at the shins, come onto your backs. Nice easy pose here. Good. So from here, you're just going to move into a bridge pose. So knees are under or on top of your heels as you slowly push your way up into bridge pose, arching the spine, lifting the chest towards the chin, maybe crawling your elbows underneath to clasp the palms if that feels good. Just feeling a nice stretch of the back body here, the front body, squeezing the glute muscles to help this pose, and then when you're ready, just slowly lowering down. Good, and then just rocking your way up to seated, actually moving into a boat pose here, Navasana. So a little core work here, extending the arms straight out, maybe flexing the ankles or the feet, if this helps to strengthen the pose for you. Really lifting the chest, giving me a nice flat back if you can here, and then crossing at the shins and stepping into a knee position. I like to fold my mat over here for camel pose, so bringing my knees to the mat, and I'm going to use my blocks, but this isn't necessary. I've got my blocks by my side. I'm just going to walk them back a little bit, kind of introducing the movement of camel pose to my spine, and just puffing up my chest just a little bit. And then I'm going to tuck my toes under and maybe lower the blocks. If you've got the blocks, you can do this option. Otherwise, maybe start with your toes tucked, move into camel. So you're really just shifting the hips forward, strengthening the lower body as you move into that pose. Taking a break, maybe sitting back on the heels for a moment. I like to do a couple of these, a couple of rounds. So come on up again. This time maybe hands to the waist, tuck the toes. I'm going to shift my hips forward, lift my heart towards the sky. I could drop my head back, or to protect my neck, keep the chin lifted a little bit here as I reach for my heels, and stay for a breath or two. Ready? Just ripple the heart up, and then sit back on the heels, take a break, and again notice the sensations in your body. And when you're ready, reaching forward for child's pose. Great, and from here, coming back to your seat, let's move into a twist. So let's cross your left over your right over your left, I should say. So I'm mirroring you. And you can either extend the bottom leg or tuck it underneath you. From Marichyasana, Matsyendrasana. Let's hug the knee into the chest, turn and revolve the spine. You could bring the elbow to the outside of the thigh, but if that's too intense after as much stretching as we've done for the hips, maybe back off just a bit. So your right hand is supporting you behind you. If you'd like, you can reach down and grab a hold of the outer top foot and extend it straight. So you could extend your leg and then reach your back hand back and away from you for a little deeper stretch for the outside of the hip. You're going to feel this in your IT band. And come back to center. And let's take Janu Sirsasana. So right leg is extended, left knee is in tree pose. Let's inhale and extend the spine, and then just exhale to bow over the leg. Maybe inhale to look forward again, and exhale to bow over one more time. Just noticing the sensations in the body now. Starting to transition to a relaxing state in our yoga practice. Just enjoying the sensation of stretch here. Inhale and slowly rise up. And let's take Matsyendrasana on the other side. So crossing the other leg over, or either tucking the bottom foot under or extending it straight out in front of you. Reach the other arm behind you as you do so with a nice tall spine, hugging the knee in towards the body, and remembering to keep the spine on that central axis nice and tall, without rounding in the upper back. And again, going a little deeper. If you want the bind, you bring the elbow to the outside of the thigh. If you're staying here, if you want more, you will reach down and perhaps clasp that top outer foot to extend. Pick up the back hand, reach it away. I turn so you can see me a little bit better what I'm doing here. Maybe turn and look over the right shoulder or the back shoulder if that feels good. You're noticing what you need in your neck. Sometimes we don't have as much mobility as we should in our neck, so you can, obviously try looking, gazing when we're binding like that, but if it doesn't feel good for your neck, then you do what you can. And then moving into Janu Sirsasana on the other side. So just a nice gentle one-legged hamstring stretch. Opposite foot in tree pose as we do this. Breathing deeply. And slowly rising out. And scooping up the back of the knees. Let's lower to our spine. From here, crossing your right leg over. So right knees are stacked, bringing the legs towards your chest, clasping the outer shins, ankles, or feet for a reclined outer hip stretch. So this isn't reclined pigeon pose. This is actually shoelace pose. And then when you're ready, let's switch sides. So knees are stacked here as you draw them towards your chest and just pull in. Just one final stretch here for the outer hips. Feeling the back body on the mat now, letting the neck begin to relax a bit. Slowly releasing the feet to the mat. Pausing here. And taking our feet again into Baddha Konasana. So the knees stay bent, soles of the feet come together, knees go wide. Reach your hands overhead if it feels comfortable, and maybe clasp hold of the elbows. Again, if that does not feel comfortable to you, you can just release the arms by the side, staying there as long as you like, or beginning to extend the legs out and move into Shavasana. So you're welcome to stay in the Baddha Konasana shape, again targeting the outer hips a bit, or inner thighs again, excuse me, or finding your way into Shavasana. And when you're in Shavasana, whichever pose you've taken, you're going to start to relax. You're going to let the back body soften. Whatever parts of the body are touching the mat, we're going to allow them to just melt into the floor. You're going to breathe nice and deeply. You're going to start to soften your face and your jaw. The skin of your face softens. Any gripping that you might feel elsewhere, you stop. We release. This is about allowing the effects of our practice to sink in. It's really allowing the body to relax a bit. Just go ahead and draw your knees into your chest now. Hug it in and slowly roll to your side. You're more than welcome to stay in Shavasana if you like. For those of you wishing to end practice, we will transition to our seated meditation pose again. Slowly rising when you're ready, coming to cross legs. Those of you in Shavasana, please remain if you like. Those of you seated, just take a few deep breaths here. And bring your palms to prayer in front of your heart. Maybe recalling your intention again that you set at the beginning of class. Take a deep breath here. Bow your chin down. Namaste, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. See you next time.